This article was given to me by my friend Billy Johnson, president of the Mississippi Wildlife Heritage Museum in Leland, Mississippi. All I have is a clipping that, from the partial masthead, appears to be from the Bolivar County Democrat, published in Rosedale, Mississippi. Billy tells me it appeared in an August 1891 issue of that newspaper. Unfortunately, it appears that the copies of that newspaper from that period of time have been lost to history. If anyone knows where 1891 issues of the newspaper may be found, please let me know in the comment section below. I suspect that the author of this piece, who signed his name only with the initial B, may have written a sequel to this article because he references a bear hunt at the end of the piece, a bear hunt in which he apparently had a close call. Although entitled Bear Hunting in Pioneer Times, the article really only deals with a deer hunt and a fishing trip on the Bogue Phalia in Bolivar County. That said, here's the story. Bear Hunting in Pioneer Times. Some years ago, before the advent of railroads and telegraph and their concomitant of numerous stores, depots, and increased population, Bolivar County was a glorious place in which to live. That is, for one like myself, fond of hunting. There were large tracts of uncleared land, cane brakes, and open woods, through which one might travel for miles in a direct line and not meet a human face or a sign of human habitation. These woods were teeming with game, bear and deer, and might without a misnomer have been called the hunter's paradise. It was my custom every fall, in company with several friends and an old Negro, Joe, who took care of my dogs, to go to the woods and remain for a week or two in camp, hunting and fishing, and having more fun and pleasure than anyone who never tried it can conceive of. We usually camped up on the narrows of Bogue Phalia, in Indian nomenclature, Red River. By the way, that is an error. Bogue Phalia actually means Long Creek or Long River in Choctaw, a stream which afforded fishing I have never seen surpassed. I remember some of the incidents of one of our hunts, which I will try to describe as well as I can, though my hand is more familiar with the rifle than with the pen. One morning in November 1872, I called to old Joe. Joe, get on a mule and ride over and tell Mr. B, Mr. L, and Mac that I am going on a camp hunt tomorrow and to fix up and meet us at the lane at 10 o'clock in the morning. Tell Mac to be sure to couple up his dogs, as we want to keep all the dogs in until we strike camp. Now don't you stop at the store and get slewed, but hurry back and get everything ready this evening. You can use old Kate as a pack mule. Tie up Belle, as I do not wish her to go and couple all the other dogs. After seeing Joe start, I walked in the house, bent over and kissed my wife as a preface to my dear, I'm going to the woods tomorrow. Make Caroline get everything ready this evening. I won't stay longer than a week. You won't mind being a widow for that short while. Mac is going with me. I will have everything, answered my dear wife, and I knew that everything needful would be prepared. Well, the morning came crisp, clear, and cool. Old Kate with her pack saddle stands tied to a post, preparatory to being laden with our outfit. Bedding provisions and utensils, and when loaded looks like she had the baggage of a regiment. Old Joe mounted old Mike, a good hunting mule, with his old full-stocked cap and ball Kentucky rifle, which he has hunted with for 30 years, lying across the pommel of his saddle. A bandana handkerchief worn as a turban in lieu of a hat, powder horn, blowing horn, and bullet pouch slung over his shoulders. A leather belt around his waist, sustaining a heavy bear knife, his shrewd face lit up with pleasure as he whistles to his dogs. I mounted old Patty, a proved and trusty hunting horse, with a heavy Remington rifle on my shoulder, blowing horn and knife, and I am equipped for the chase. I ride up to the gallery, lean over and kiss my dear wife good-bye, and from a mellow call to the dogs from Joe's horn, We are off to the meet. Arrived near the rendezvous, the cheery notes of different horns gives evidence that our friends are on time, and with cordial greeting of friend to friend, and the clamor of different packs, we take up our journey to the camp. Who can describe the grandeur and beauty of our forests in those days? Great towering trees rearing up into the heavens, their branches which interlocked form a shade through which ever and anon the blue sky appears through open spaces. The autumn leaves, the red of the sweet gum, the yellow of the ash, and the fiery maple, the scarlet sumac, and the deep, rich green of the oak, blending their colors together, form a picture that an artist could never imitate on canvas, and which only the hand of nature can paint. And the soft sounds of the woods, the chirp of the squirrels, the song of the blackbirds as they feast on the small acorns, the ringing, distant notes of the ivory bill, as perched on some dead and hollow limb, he drums his call to his mate. All these things make one realize the truth of the saying, man builds the cities, and God made the forest. Late in the evening, we reached our place of encampment, and while some picket the horses and cut cane for their food, others busied themselves in building a cane shanty, which, properly constructed, makes habitation warm and cozy and impenetrable to wind or rain. As the calls of the owls announce the near approach of night, our labors are complete, and seated around our campfire, we partake of our supper with the zest which only a day in the woods can give. And after supper, lying around our fire, with pipes alight, at peace with ourselves, and in charity toward the world, we pass the time in spinning lies and discussing programs for the morrow's hunt. We decided for the morrow to leave the dogs in camp and still hunt for deer, while Mac and myself agreed to take a canoe which we had and go down the Bogue some miles fishing, leaving the boat at times to hunt on either side of the stream. At first peep of day, we were waked by Joe calling out, "Get up, Mr. Jack. Day done broke and breakfast is ready. If you all expect to kill any deer, time you was moving." After a hurried breakfast, we started off, leaving the dogs all tied in camp. Mac sat on the front seat of the canoe, while I paddled, each with his gun ready to his hand, and with fishing rods and lines prepared, we started down the Bogue just as the first rays of the rising sun gilds the treetops. After paddling for a half a mile, we came to where the stream makes a short bend, and in the angle a drift had formed with a rapid current on one side through open channels and an eddy below the drift. Here we ran our boat alongside a log, and for 2 hours surely never men had such fishing as we. Black bass, perch, sun perch, brim, and every variety of fish known to our waters, the only interruption to our sport being every little while a broken hook or line by a fish too heavy for our tackle. After tiring of the sport, Mac proposed we go farther down the Bogue, land our boat, and hunt. This decision being confirmed by our having heard, while engaged in fishing, several reports from the guns of our comrades. We started down the Bogue, and as we paddled slowly along, the faint distant note of a hound in full cry breaks the stillness of the woods. "Stop, Jack. Can that be one of our dogs that has gotten loose and is running a deer?" "No, it is on the wrong side of the Bogue, and we have no dog with a note like that. It is running a deer and coming direct this way. Paddle out into the middle of the stream and hold on to that snag. The deer will cross in shot of this place." I do as directed, and Mac with his rifle ready, we wait in breathless silence. Nearer and nearer comes the sweetest of all music to a hunter's ear, the continuous challenge of a full-bred hound, until now the timber on the farther side of the stream echoes back the sound. A moment more, there's a rush through the cane which lines the bluff, and the noble buck breaks cover, and for one brief instant stands with head thrown back, nostrils distended, and every muscle quivering. Then, with legs drawn under him, with a bound he gamely takes the water within 60 yards of our boat. Mac's gun is at his shoulder when I whisper, "Hold, Mac. Don't shoot until he gains the other side." I whisper back, "All right, old fellow. Keep her steady." As the buck reaches the shore, he pauses one moment to look back. Fatal pause. A flash, a sharp report, and a half-ounce bullet crashes through his shoulder. With one convulsive bound, the noble quarry falls, every limb quivering in death. As we reach the spot where the deer lies, a beautiful black and tan hound came upon the track of the deer, and without one instant pause, leapt from the bluff and boldly swam across. I called to Mac, "Look at the dog. Ain't she a beauty?" Without noticing us, she seized the deer by the throat until satisfied that it was dead and the hunt over, when she lay down, panting and exhausted. This is how and when I became possessed of Flora, the gamest dog that ever ran a deer, and before whom I killed more than a head of any pack I ever owned. Where she came from, I never learned, but even as I write, one of her progeny, Old Blue, the only dog I now possess, lies stretched out on the rug at my feet. Blue, old dog, the chase is ended. The old Remington is like Rip Van Winkle's gun after his long sleep on the Catskill Mountain. The old hunting horn hangs on the wall, never more to call the pack together, no more to sound the death of bear or deer. Mac, old friend, you and I alone are left of those who with us next day tackled old Bruin in his lair, and I became for a while the hunted instead of the hunter. And old Joe's rifle and knife came into play. Signed, B. If you enjoy articles like this one, you might like my books, The Bear Hunter, The Life and Times of Robert Eager Bobo in the Cane Brakes of the Old South, a book about a Coahoma County, Mississippi Delta bear hunter, and Hunting Bear and Panther in the Old South, the writings of Dr. Henry J. Peck of Sicily Island, Louisiana. Those are the only two books I have out right now on the general subject of hunting in the Old South, but there are more in the works, and I'll try to keep you posted through this YouTube channel. And if you found this worthwhile, please like and subscribe. Thank you.